How can we get the money out the door faster?
What's going on, everybody? How are you doing? We're getting ready for our show here on Newstalk 1040 AM out of Tampa Bay, greater Tampa Bay area. And it's going to be really, really good here. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be joined by Paul at Villarreal as well today. And just lots, I mean, wow, we're going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about business, Twitter, Snow White, all kinds of stuff, taking your calls. I'm going to put myself on mute. We're going to be monitoring this. We're about 5 minutes out here, but we'll be getting things ready. So if you're seeing this later, you might want to move ahead a little bit, but it is about 4:02 right now p.m. EST, and we're going to be live about 4:06. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're about a minute out here, so get ready. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have some fun today. Talk about a lot of different things here. Let's see where we're at.
Live with them.
Okay. Get ready, big show, big show. Talk about election 2024. We're going to talk about Snow White. We're going to talk about so many things today. Talk about some business too. A lot of things going on there. Get ready.
Advertisers. Welcome to the John Villarreal Show. Now, here's John.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, here on Newstalk 1040 AM. 4:06 here on the East Coast. And we are talking to everybody live on the radio at Newstalk 1040 AM, anywhere from Sarasota, St. Pete, Clearwater, Tampa Bay, Lakeland, Plant City. All kinds of great places right here, right now. Brandon, everything. And we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook as well. Now, listen, it's been a big week. Big week. A lot to talk about out there. I mean, first of all, we've got a lot to talk about with the whole Hawaii situation. And we're going to get to that, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those people affected right there. And, you know, I don't want to make it political, but there's a lot to discuss there about what's going on, and we're going to talk about that. We also need to talk about Snow White. My goodness. I mean, another controversy with Disney. Another has woke culture and woke Hollywood just gone too far here. What's happening with that? I mean, you've got the lead actress that has made some comments, and people are discussing that. And again, I don't want to just pile on too much on the, pop culture scene, but I definitely think that it bears examination there. We also need to talk about election 2024. I mean, wow. We've got news with Ron DeSantis. We've got news from no less than President Trump. We need to talk about that. I also got an email today. I don't want to say too much, but we may be seeing, we've had some communication with Representative Anna Paulina Luna's office, and she's a local congressperson here in the greater Tampa Bay area. And hopefully, first of all, we wish her and say congratulations and wish her well on her pregnancy and everything like that. That's exciting news. We're excited for the Congresswoman and her family, of course, and hopefully we will hear from her sometime in the fall. And we appreciate that communication from her office and everything, and wish her all the best. And she has made some big waves in terms of, a lot of people are saying that she's a rising star in the Republican Party. I know that I think she went on a trip with President Trump. Or actually, no, I may have that wrong. But I know that there's been some discussion there. And Paul, you can bring me up to speed. I know you're a little bit more on top of this. But I mean, she's done some things here. I've seen her in Congress, at some of these hearings and stuff like that. She is an Air Force veteran out there, and she's done a lot of things out there. And even though she's a freshman congressperson, she's been doing a lot of stuff out there, and we're going to bring Paul here in a second. So we would love to have her join the program, and wish her and her family and her team all the best out there, and we definitely appreciate that. But so much and there's news on Twitter, and there's people that are getting a little bit nervous because now some things have been happening. Like, are you able to block people? Not able to block people? What about, potential censorship? No less than Glenn Beck has been talking about, like, hey, maybe, he's been talking about things going on maybe with the Apple Store. We're seeing some channels being demonetized. There's some things happening out there. So we need to get into that. And there's just a lot of discussion here. Paul, let's bring you in right now. The first thing I want to talk about as we lead this show on, we have a lot to talk about. And of course, we'll take your calls and comments here on Newstalk 1040. What is up with these debates? I mean, I think President Trump is saying he's not going to the debates. Tell us what's going on with that, Paul.
Yeah, let me first just say that you were right. Anna Paulina Luna did go with President Trump to the Iowa State Fair. She joined 9 other congressmen. 8
I
of them
thought
were
so.
from
I just
Florida,
didn't want to
so
be.
she was
I
at that
didn't,
trip.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right about that. So President Trump yesterday via True Social, which is the social media platform he uses, announced about 6 p.m. or so that he was not doing the debate. He actually said he wasn't doing the debates, plural. So it sounds like he's out. And based on reports, well, Fox has been urging him to do it, and he just doesn't want to do it. And what he said in his message was, look, I'm ahead by so much. Everybody knows where I stand on the issues. Why would I do it? And in a previous message, he had referenced President Reagan in 1980. He skipped a debate. The same reason. He was up so much. So I understand where he's coming from. Of course, there's different things going on. People are curious now. Is he going to counter-program the debate by doing an interview with somebody like Tucker Carlson? That's what people are thinking. But this is big news, and it's kind of, what's going to happen then at the debate?
No doubt. People want to know what's going to happen in that debate. Absolutely. There's no question about it there. I just wanted to make sure that you were able to finish your thought there. So I apologize to the audience on that one. Paul's joining by phone, and I'm actually, there's a little bit of there's some technical things here. I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible. So sometimes there's going to be a little bit of crosstalk, there's going to be a little bit of dead air occasionally, just to make it as good as we can possibly make it. I didn't want to get too much into the backseat there. But here's the thing with President Trump. He does not need to debate, okay? I mean, I'm just going to tell you where we're at right now. I mean, he's so far ahead, it's unbelievable. And we're seeing all kinds of discussion out there, and there's been reports, and I'm not trying to, get myself in any trouble here, that no less than potentially Brett Baer may have been calling President Trump, asking him, and Paul will correct me if I'm wrong, to do the debate. But you've got in the latest poll here, and this just dropped. This is CBS News, YouGov. President Trump is up 46 points. He's polling at 62%. I mean, player, it's over. It's so over, it's not even funny. It would have to take, here's the thing. There's prevent defense, I get that. But, when you're up by 4-5 touchdowns and you've got, 5, I don't know, maybe a quarter left to play, maybe. What do you need to do? Oh, John, we haven't even had the first debate. Okay, we're about 5 months out from the first, voting out there, I think. I've got to look at the calendar, but it all starts going in January. And how much do you think is really going to be happening during the holidays? Do you understand? Besides, you have to have staff in there. You have to have all kinds of, it would take just so much to change the game. I don't know that we've ever seen a lead like this evaporate on the primary. And it goes back to first principles of what I said before, which is not to mention the Vivek Ramaswamy problem that some of the GOP has. Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy is amazing. He's on fire, and what did I say? If you listen to this show, you're ahead of the game. If you listen to the show, you're ahead of the game. There's so many of the, what I want to call smart marks out there, to use wrestling parlance, because we are on Newstalk 1040 WHBO, and the sister station is, the Big 8 with, Bubba, and we have a lot of wrestling talk here, so we might as well get into it. We've got a lot of wrestlers that live in the greater Tampa Bay area, no less than Hulk Hogan. Okay. And so, there's a lot of people that were like, hey, DeSantis is a better version of Trump, and the big money's on DeSantis, and you MAGA people patting on the heads, oh, you're so funny, and oh, you don't know what's going on. And I try to tell you, dude, forget about all that for a second. First of all, you're super wrong, and we've detailed how wrong they are over the last months, really, and before that on my regular, podcasts and stuff like that, and my regular shows, live streams and things like that. I've told people that it's all about Trump and it's all about MAGA on the Republican side. Period. End of story. And if you take out Trump, and it's a personal connection to Trump, and it's emotional to Trump, and there's this almost wishful thinking that if they got rid of Trump, well, let me put it another way. Let me revise and extend that. That if Trump was somehow not the candidate, that it's going to go back to the GOP and the Bushes and the Mavericks and the purple strategies and all this stuff. No, we don't want, the exclamation point Jeb. We don't want any of that anymore. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I'm telling you, and I'm not, you're a Trump guy. Yes, I voted for President Trump twice. Absolutely. Who else was I going to vote for? On the Republican side, okay? And look at what he did. Look at the results. I'm tired of hearing about all the tweets, the mean tweets, and the name calling. Nobody cares. Ask people out there in Maui how they're feeling about how much they care about tweets. Ask people, in Appalachia. Ask Oliver Anthony people care about the economy. People care about natural disasters. People care about fires. People care about their kids. People care about real stuff. The real results under President Trump and his administration were incredible. And right now it's terrible. That's what it is. Bottom line, end stop. But forget about all that. I can get into that. We'll roll through that. Again, that analysis, because I think I've got to bring it up to speed because, again, I predicted it exactly. I mean, in my opinion, we've laid it out. But first principles, how on earth are you going to displace the last Republican president who's running again? How easy is that going to be? Who had a great record? How easy? Well, yeah, his record was great, but Trump, he can't win the independents and the suburban women and Karl Rove and the whiteboard and all the millionaires and the billionaires on Wall Street. Nobody cares, dude. That made no sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's almost like saying like, hey, I don't play basketball but if I had a trampoline and I got a 2-second head starts on LeBron and this and that, like, no, dude, it's like, good luck. It's not going to work. It doesn't make sense. So there was never really any cogent, realistic plan other than the indictments that was going to displace Trump. Like how on earth? We're not talking about, I'm not being disrespectful, like Jimmy Carter and stuff like that, and I saw President Carter in the news and stuff, and we wish him and the family all the best and stuff like that, and he's done incredible work after the presidency. I mean, forget about but just him and his family, just incredible work with Habitat with Humanity and stuff, and I think a real model, honestly, for the post-presidency, maybe a little different than what we've seen with, some other post-presidents, recently that are somehow still involved. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not alleging anything, but just look, Paul, let's bring you in on this. It was always a bad plan to try to go up against President Trump. I just don't understand. This is what gets me. On the Democratic side, and I said that I told you it was going to be Trump versus Biden. I've been saying that for a long time. They don't want to have debates with RFK Jr. They don't want to have debates with Cornel West. They don't want to have debates with who's the other lady, Miriam. I can't remember her name. I apologize right now. And RFK Jr. is pulling up there like that. And meanwhile, they act like we've got a super live Republican race in the primary, and we have to have debates. Why, dude? President Trump is so far ahead. Listen, if it was a real debate, fine. Like here, how about this? How about we have no moderators and we just have a round table and have the candidates talk to each other? I'm all for that. I don't want to hear from, no disrespect, but I don't need to hear from a Margaret Brennan or a Brett Baer or a Chris Wallace or Jim Acosta. I don't need to hear. I don't want to hear the Candy Crowley moments. I don't want to hear stuff like that. And at least I give him this. Jake Tapper at least came out and said, you know what? Sounds like President Trump was kind of right, and with the comments and the debate before. Well, that's great. It's great that we're hearing about it now, 4 years later, after the election. Kind of like the Hunter Biden laptop story. Kind of like a lot of stories, dude. And people were over it. People were over the games, the parlor tricks, this and that, whatever. How many people would rather see and listen to, President Trump sit down with Tucker Carlson, who was kicked off of Fox News? Why? Who knows? What's going on? We're over the games, dude. We're over the Wizard of Oz. We're over that. Now, thankfully, we still, people still listen to, Newstalk 1040 out here and stuff like that. But it's a different day. It's a different age. Paul, lay it out for me. What do you think of this?
Look, you were talking about wrestling earlier, and I'll just make a comparison here. President Trump is Roman Reigns. Everything runs around him in the WWE, and everything in the GOP runs around President Trump. And that's what it is. And the reason for that, you mentioned Oliver Anthony, who's a singer of the breakout hit Rich Men North of Richmond. People like Oliver Anthony feel like President Trump represents them. And the reason why MAGA has become so powerful in the Republican Party is because people who used to feel represented in the Democratic Party no longer feel that way. And so they had to go somewhere. They went to the Republican Party and have kind of displaced the elites there. It's almost an extension of what we saw at the Tea Party in the past, but it's stronger now because there's been more of a push for those people to go somewhere else. And a lot of those people feel like President Trump speaks for them or President Trump cares for them. I live in Pennsylvania. I cannot begin to tell you how much support President Trump has here. There are signs up everywhere, and they never came down. They never came down from 2020. They've been up for 3 years. And it's not just a person, as you said, it's not an emotional connection to one person. It's a movement. It's a symbol. That's what he is. He talks about the forgotten men, forgotten women. It's like he cares about us, and no one else does. And that's what people feel with him.
Yes, and I would say no less than Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running an amazing campaign. Vivek is running the campaign that Governor DeSantis should have been running. Let me say that again. Vivek Ramaswamy is running the campaign that Governor DeSantis should have been running. That's the thing. With an amazing record. Governor DeSantis has an amazing record here in Florida. Now, there's been some bumpiness of late, I think he's gone a little too far. I've been saying that way too far on some of these, social cultural issues. However, I mean, he's done amazing things for parents. He's done amazing things on just so many levels. Governor DeSantis is an amazing governor. May go down as the greatest governor in Florida's history at a critical time, but terrible campaign. And there's been a shakeup. It looks like he's taking control, but he's listening. I mean, you cannot have your campaign, and I'm not saying it is. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying hypothetically, you cannot have a campaign run by the GOP, run by the Jeb and Karl Rove and those kind of people. And I'm not saying they're involved in any way. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying I'm speaking hypothetically, metaphorically, or the donors. How many donors is Vivek listening to? How many donors is President Trump listening to? That's the difference in authenticity. Here's what's going on. If President Trump's not the nominee, guess what? Vivek has a really good chance of being the nominee. So now what? So I mean, all these donors that gave just massive money, and all the smart marks that I'm not for Trump, but I'm for DeSantis. I talked to people that were big leaders. They thought they were really smart. I'm like, bro. You have no clue what you're talking about. You've got your right to your opinion. I get it. But please don't confuse your opinion from anything that makes any kind of political sense. Because it doesn't. Because you can't articulate for me why. Dude, you don't understand. Here's the point. You don't understand what that person in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Okeechobee, Kentucky, Texas, California now. People are fleeing California. I just saw this thing on Fox Business. People are fleeing everywhere. We're live on LinkedIn. Let's bring in a little bit business right here. There's so much to talk about. There's an article right here on Fox Business. And let's see right here. And this is published today, right around noon, by Megan Henney. Quote, headline, New York, California, each lose $1 trillion in assets as financial firms flee south. People are over it, dude. They're over it. They are over it. This does not work. You look at what's going on with some of this, the crisis in New York City, in Chicago. Now all of a sudden these things have come home to roost in the Democrat cities. It's not working. There's places where we talked about last week where I think there was a memo that went out to federal employees like, hey, you don't need to come to work, physically in San Francisco because it's too crazy. It's too crazy. It doesn't work. And so, yes, Governor DeSantis has an amazing record to run on, but here's the problem. People want results. They don't want happy talk. And I just saw it, and I didn't listen to the quote. So I mean, but I saw the headline here of David Sachs from the PayPal group and venture capitalists, everything like that. And I think he was on with Hugh Hewitt on the, and you could see Hugh Hewitt's face. This is my impression of it. I didn't listen to it, so I may be wrong. It's my impression, just trying to read the body language. I'm not an expert. But he was talking about like, hey, we're giving so much money to Ukraine and stuff, and people are like, and let me see if I can think, and you could see Hugh Hewitt's face, and he didn't know what to do, in my opinion. That's what it looked like to me. I may be totally wrong. I may be totally wrong in that, but it looked like Hugh Hewitt, like deer in the headlights. And it's like, yeah, dude, and right here, and just saying like how much money and people are talking about this, like, what are we doing? And DeSantis had different messaging on Ukraine and stuff like that. It's like, dude, if we can't get the basic things right, and someone else said that too, like, look how much money we're talking about sending Ukraine. What about Maui now? What's going on? I mean, so there's real serious issues. Oliver Anthony, like people, I mean, like people are living in really bad conditions here in America. That's kind of what we're talking about. Like, there's people that can't eat and stuff like that. There's people that feel like they can't walk in safely. There are people worried about their kids. People worried about sky high inflation. People worried about paying the rent. People worried about being evicted. People are serious. There are serious issues here. We don't care who's running the RNC or DNC. We don't care what the donors are talking about. Because, the point, not even the 1%, the 0.001%, the 0.1%. I mean, we're all for everybody. We love success. I love success here. I'm a capitalist. We're 100% on Newstalk 1040 AM, all about it. We're down. But I mean, people now, and now you're seeing waves and waves and waves of blue collar workers, minorities, all kinds of people are saying, hey, we're with the Republicans. We're with MAGA. But we know, you can have a bunch of meetings in Salt Lake or Sea Island or Governor Kemp or whatever like that. It doesn't matter, dude. Like, people are not down with it. And we don't care what Rupert Murdoch or Fox News or whatever, or Brett Baer says about it. No disrespect to any of those people. They're great. But no, people are thinking for themselves now. It is a new day, a new time. And if you didn't understand the fundamental dynamics of where it is now, and if you thought, well, we'll get them with the ads, we'll get them with Chris Christie, will hit him on the out on bail. Nobody cares about Chris Christie, bro. Could Chris Christie win an election in New Jersey right now? Because he's not even going to carry his own state. You understand that? He's not going to win New Hampshire. Nobody's winning anything but Trump. Wake up to reality, Republican Party. It's a new day here. Hey, we're listening to John D. Villarreal show. And who said it the whole time? Me, this kid. You listen to this show, you're ahead of the game right here on Newstalk 1040 AM. We'll be right back with you. Stay tuned. Lots more to talk about. All right, we're going to take about a 5-minute break here. We'll be back around 4:34 is when we'll pick it up again. Get ready. We're going to still talk about this a little bit more. Election 2024, a lot more to dive into that. I can take your comments here on the chat. If you're on YouTube, maybe it's some of the other, I'm not sure if LinkedIn or Facebook comes through on this side here, but I can get the chat on YouTube here. I'll take those comments if I can. And, we have a lot more to talk about. We have the economy to talk about. We have the Snow White thing to talk about. I want to get into all those types of things. And who knows where the show is going to go. But there's some real things happening right now, pivotal with the election. And so we need to bring people up to speed on that because of the debate stuff and some of these other things. And so, yeah, there's a lot of discussion going on right now. Okay, so just sit tight. We'll be right back.
to try.
We're getting ready to go back on here. Stay tuned, everybody. We monitor the line here.
Probably
about like a minute or so out. I'm going to mute myself for here for a second. So we're going to continue our thoughts, get into Snow White, get into all kinds of other stuff, take your calls, comments, and we're going to get on it.
7 home game.
Could I?
Okay, we're back. John D. Villarreal radio show here on Newstalk 1040 AM, Greater Tampa Bay area. Everywhere from Sarasota, Wesley Chapel, Tampa Bay, Lakeland, St. Pete, Clearwater, all over the place. And we're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Look, so much to talk about right here, right now. And as I mentioned earlier, we are in communication. We have been in communication with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna's office. We wish her all the best on her pregnancy. I'm very excited. Congratulations. And we hope we're going to be having her on the show in the fall sometime. That would be awesome. So we'll see. Meanwhile, we're talking about President Trump, the debates, where the election is and all that. We're joined by Paul at Villarreal. And as I was saying, like the fundamentals of this have never changed. President Trump had a great record. President Trump is in full control of this party. There's people that are logging in there. Oh, Governor DeSantis. That he's failed miserably in this campaign. He's trying to capture it again. Some things I see from the DeSantis campaign I like. I see him a little bit more involved. I see more activity out there. I see more interviews. I see more personal events. Some things I still think it's just getting away from him. And in fact, Vivek Ramaswamy is running the campaign that Governor DeSantis should have run. And so I think that, it's, and I'm not giving campaign advice. I'm just a talk show host, right? I have run campaigns, right? I've run a campaign before, a congressional campaign, in my opinion. Let me revise and extend that. I've consulted for U.S. Senate campaigns, including one here in Florida. I've been involved in politics and stuff. I'm a political science major, on undergrad at UC Berkeley and a law school at UC Berkeley. So, I've been heavily involved in politics. I think I'm really, really good at that game. I'm not giving political advice. I'm a political expert I'm being a talk show host right here on Newstalk 1040 AM. And I've been saying forever, and it just killed me because you have so many people that came up to me, venture capitalists and CEOs, and it's DeSantis and Trump's over. You're out of your mind. And now it's all come to fruition. Everything I've been saying, it's all here. Can you see me now? You got my number. If you want to know what's up, just call me. Players. If you want to know what's up, call JDV, because I've been right and our audience has been right. It's not about, I told you so. It's about, think about it. There's real issues here. Serious issues. Oliver Anthony. Why do you think he's got so many hits in the top 10 right now? Blew everybody away. Didn't come from Hollywood. Didn't come from Nashville. Didn't come from MTV. Didn't come from YouTube. Whatever like that. It was on YouTube actually. But and we love YouTube. But it's like, dude, he's speaking to what people are dealing with out there. And we talked about the, how hard people have it now, single people, for dating and everything like that, and marriage and the manosphere and all that type of stuff, and my criticisms of the manosphere and everything, and why I'm not like, but I have issues with that. But they do cover some real issues out there. And part of the thing is have a six pack and be 6 feet tall and make six figures. Guess what, player? 6 figures today. Making $100,000 is not what it was even 3 years ago. Why? Because we've got sky high inflation. I think someone did a stat or something like that. It was like, and I was talking to my brother about this, and we'll bring him in here in a second. And this is why it's so critical. It all relates, because this is what everybody's dealing with. That's why we're not talking about the noise. Nobody cares about the mean tweets, and nobody cares about any of that stuff. You could indict Trump 100 times. It's not going to affect a lot of the electorate, in my opinion, because I mean, and the more you do it, the more it looks. And then yet we're talking about plea deals and stuff like that. Hunter Biden. And I'm not saying it's but I mean, and someone else said this too, and I can't remember who it was. I don't know if I don't think it's Bill Maher. I don't know who it was, but if someone said this, like, I think it was a congressperson. Actually, now that I think about it, how can this not look political? I'm not alleging anything. I'm not saying that. We're just talking about here on the radio. But I mean, the more you do this, the more political it looks. And Alan Dershowitz, Professor Dershowitz, and everything, and Jonathan Turley have eviscerated, have done the legal analysis, and no less than the great one, Mark Levin, went through this of really criticizing the legal theories on these things. But anyway, the point is, let's get back to this. I think inflation, if you add it up in the last 3-4 years, something like that, it's like 20%. So if you make $100,000 now, it's like you made $80,000 3-4 years ago. That's how bad it is. It's super bad. And the housing market is frozen. So think about it. What are people really concerned about? Can I find a job? Is it going to pay enough? My rent just went up $500, $1,000. I saw something like, I was watching something about real estate on YouTube and stuff like that. And they showed, like, I think they're out in Venice or something. And not here in Florida, out in Venice Beach, okay, in California. And it was like a 3-bedroom. I don't know the square footage. I didn't get all the facts here, but just follow with me. It was like a 3-bedroom. I'll bring up 2 facts on this. It's actually good. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo, I think, townhouse, something like that. It wasn't like a single, it was one of those things. I'm created, okay, you're near the beach, whatever, like that. Just, and Paul already knows the answer, but I'll just work for the audience right here. Just guess how much that thing costs per month. For rent. $2,000? Hit me. 3? Hit me. 4? $6,500 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like condo townhouse. Let's call it a townhouse. Let's be generous. Let's call it a townhouse. Are you insane? How many people can afford? And granted, what's your debt to income ratio supposed to be for rent or something like that? And you're supposed to make like 2.5, 3 times the rent. So let's do that math, player. You're like $20,000 a month, something like that. Who the heck can afford that? And it's not like this is, you're not living like Paris Hilton style or anything like that. Like if you saw it, it was like whatever, dude. I mean, it was kind of whatever. Like I'm in a much nicer place than this place, in my opinion. Okay. I mean, it was crazy. Now I'll do you, I don't know, one better, but similar. There was a story, a young lady who posted on TikTok, and I saw this on another channel. And there was a story there, and they basically, this lady's like, hey, I'm homeless. I live out of my car. She's in Silicon Valley, and she's getting ready for her job or something like that. And I felt really bad, obviously, it's sad. And I used to be in Silicon Valley. I used to live right next to, I worked in Palo Alto. I was right there, right? Page Mill Road. Shout out to, WSGR, Wilson Sonsini. Love you guys. And I worked for the great Mario Rosati and everything like that. Anyway, it's not about this story, but I was right there. I know what it's like, okay? So she's getting ready for the work. And she's like, yeah, I'm living out of my car. I'm homeless. And right over here are beautiful condos. Beautiful apartments, condo style, beautiful apartments. And she's like, they're only 30 to 40% full. Because, and I can't remember the names. I want to say Prometheus, and it's like these big, like, private equity, REITs, hedge fund, whatever. I don't know. Because they think that investors, and I'm going to get this wrong. This is my paraphrase, my recollection. They're telling investors that people can pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, whatever. I think $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month for a studio. And then she pans to the street. And she says, and the people said no. And on the street, what you see are vans, campers, whatever, all down the street. People are living out of their cars in Silicon Valley. So think about this. We've got situations where you got to be worried about what's going on in the schools. Are your kids being taught? What are they being taught? Are they being taught to read and write and be ready for college? How much money is college going to cost? Are they going to be able to get a job if they take hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt in college? Can you afford your rent? Can you afford your house? Can you sell your house? Interest rates are through the roof. People's property taxes are going up. Are you going to be mugged if you go downtown in any city? Name the city. I don't want to name the city. It's so bad that it's unbelievable. And then meanwhile, hey, another 10 billion, 100 billion, whatever it is for Ukraine. Like, dude, war's not good anywhere. Have we gotten the memo? Like, why are we, like, what's up with all these wars? National defense, self-defense, these great companies, we're all for, strong, all that. But, it's supposed to be for defense, dude. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is 2023. What are we doing? You got to take care of your people. I'm not taking a position on any particular issue or any foreign policy, thing going on right now. I'm just saying in general, we got to get into reality. And like I said, at some point, it becomes like I said last week, Atlas Shrugged, where people are like, you know what? Enough of this. I'm not buying Bud Light anymore. I'm not going to Target. I'm not going to see this Disney movie. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. And people are too smart. You're going to play whack-a-mole now because of the internet and stuff like that. Now you're starting to see that is the shadow banning coming back? Is the deplatforming coming back? People are saying enough of it. They believe you, Dr. Marty Makari, other people, they believe these healthcare professionals. Look at the status of the healthcare industry now versus before. Who can believe? What do you believe now? And as I said before, how do you know what you know? And a 50% strategy is not a 100% strategy. You can't just write off half the country. You can't just write off half the world. The BRICS are coming together, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They may start their own currency, player. Like, people are done. Get into it. And who's speaking to that? Who's the three main candidates that are speaking to that? Robert Kennedy Jr., Donald Trump, President Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, and surprise, surprise, they're doing amazing. The only reason Governor DeSantis was doing anywhere near as good as he was is because people thought that he was another version of Donald Trump and was on the MAGA train. And to the extent that they get disabused of that, his polls plummet. This is not complicated. Paul, what do you think about all this?
Well, okay. You've been talking about several things related to the economy and so forth. And here's a couple stats. You mentioned about the cost of mortgages and everything. The average rate on the 30-year fixed mortgage right now is 7.5%. That's far higher than it was several years ago.
Goodness.
That's crazy. And that's according to Mortgage News Daily. You said about rents in Venice Beach. Well, in June of this year, the average rent in Manhattan was almost $5,600. That's insane. I mean, who can pay for that?
Who can afford that?
Finally, you mentioned about how $100,000 felt like $80,000. Well, CNBC had a thing recently. They said, hey, a poll, Americans feel like in order to be comfortable, not like rich, but comfortable, they need a $233,000 a year salary and $1.3 million for retirement. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's that's incredible.
Dude, I remember, my brother. Now, granted, this was in Western Pennsylvania and stuff like that. My granddad, I think he owned like 9 houses, something like that. Dude, again, I get it. It's a long time ago, but he was buying houses for like $30,000. I mean, hey, John, we've been here before, and Volcker and there was interest rates, and they were in the double digits. Yeah, but how much were the houses, player? Now like a decent house here in Florida is $500,000, $600,000, $800,000. I mean, we got plenty of stuff. You want to go big? We got plenty of stuff on the intercoastals, on the beach. You want to get in that 7 figures all day long, player, no problem. Try getting a shack on Palm Beach or Siesta Key or whatever. Believe me, you want to pay up. You can pay up. You can pay up big here. We got the big stuff here, no problem. But I mean, forget about California, Silicon Valley, you're done, dude. You're done. There's a lot of kids these days that feel like they have no chance, zero chance. And it's really sad. And we talked about relationships and stuff, and we weave a little bit more of that in. I'm going to get into Snow White here next because it's all going to come together. It all works together. And it's like, dude, if you don't, this whole hookup culture, everything like that, like if people don't get their lives together, and if you're not getting married and forming a family, what do you do? What's the point of life? Now, if you want to be, I'm not telling anybody how to live. I'm a libertarian. We're peace, love, freedom, opportunity, equality for everybody. Absolutely. No problem. Do whatever you want to do. You want to be a solo scientist. You want to live on Mars. You want to, whatever you want to do, run for president, do whatever you want to do. That's great. But listen, I mean, if you want the species to survive, at some point, you have, people have to have kids. I mean, this is like basic, right? And so two things. One is, all the studies are saying you're more happy in a family, you're more happy if you stay together, you're more definitely better for the kids, and all this type of stuff. Okay, great. But also just for economic viability. Like I think I had this right. Like if you're single, your savings are something are so. I think it was like maybe they have different categories. The highest category single, I think, was like average about 100,000 or something like that in retirement or something like that. Married, guess what it is? 6 times that, like 600,000. You have a fighting chance. Economically, you have a chance, right? And other people said this in different comments out there too. It's like, when, and again, I want to be careful how I say this, and I'm trying to paraphrase what I thought I saw out there. But basically now, they sell people on, hey, just be independent, just do it yourself, forget about having a family, just come work, corporate. And let me ask you this, player, is there a gold chain? Is there a gold watch at the end now? Is there job security now? So you went out there and you spent all your life working, and we talked about last week where this one guy, it was really sad. He'd been with the company for 30 years and they didn't do well. I don't know if it's a trucking company. I can't remember what it was, but it was something like that, looked like. And the pension's gone. This dude's done, dude. I mean, my poor mom, she was working into, I think, late 70s. This is not uncommon now. It's scary. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I mean, it's a lot less uncommon. How about that? And so you do that, you don't get married, you don't have kids, you're by yourself. How long are you going to be able to run that Sexton City in the city life? How long do you think that's going to go? You think you can run that in your 40s, 50s? It doesn't matter who you are. How fun is that? I mean, Hollywood and Madison Avenue and TV and the mainstream media will make you think. And even social media, I'll call out social media too. They have all these kids. They had this the interviewing these kids where it was like, oh, how much? And these kids were young. How much do you make? And shout out to Jack Morgan, Red Leather Jacket Productions or podcast, whatever like that. I saw this clip, not his clip, but I saw it on there, and it was like. And again, I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just trying to give credit and everything like that. I'd say what I say and stuff, and we say different things. And we, just because I see something, I get news and I get sources. I try to look at everything, right? So I'm not endorsing anybody or anything. But anyway, it was a clip of these kids, and they're like, "Oh, how much you make? Oh, $250." These are kids, dude. Who the hell's making that much money? I mean, dude, these kids, 23, 27, maybe. I mean, these are like early mid-20s. How much do you have in the bank? $550. You got a $550,000 in the bank, player? Get out of town. I'm not your cat and listen, I'll believe you but if you do, that is like the most extreme. Like everybody thinks everybody's just flying in private all over the world, having fun, just doing whatever they want to do and have just tons of money and living it up. We're in this weird neo-aristocracy where you've got people way up here and everyone else is struggling. Oliver Anthony is going straight to the top of the charts because he's preaching the truth, dude. People are struggling and dying out there. They're drinking their troubles away, not with Bud Light anymore, in my opinion. There's an opioid epidemic. There's a fentanyl epidemic. There's real problems here. And we need candidates that are going to speak to that in a real way. We don't care about who's running the RNC or the DNC. Nobody cares. We don't care about the mean tweets. Nobody cares. People have to step up. And this is a global deal, buddy. People are worried about food. People are worried about all kinds of stuff. Paul, talk to me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what's interesting is that the person who seems to have the best pulse on this is the guy who's the richest, which is President Trump.
Right.
Maybe that's because he doesn't need money. Whereas it seems like some of these other politicians, at least from outside appearances, part of what they do with their office is maybe work to leverage to get money. I'm not making any allegations here, but it's...
Look at all these stories about the Bidens.
Yeah,
I mean...
Yeah, it's like you have a $150,000 salary, and suddenly your net worth is $20 million.
Right.
How did that happen?
How'd that happen?
I think that's part of what happens with President Trump is he can't be bought. He doesn't need anything. Remember, he didn't take his White House salary. And so, he's always had the label of the blue-collar billionaire. But it just feels like he gets it better than other people. And I know people were saying about Oliver Anthony because he lives on, 90 acres or something in the middle of Virginia. And people are saying, oh, he must be rich because how can he afford that? He said he wrote a thing saying, look, I bought that land in 2019 for $90,000, and I still owe $65,000 on it. So he is not rich. He is not rich at all. And he said he lives in a 27-foot camper with tarp on the top. So this guy understands exactly what he's talking about, and he's living it like so many of the rest of us are.
And no less than John Rich was saying, look, the corporate country music system would never have made that song. So this is what I'm talking about. It's a different time right now, and I want to lay this out here because we'll run up against a break real quick. And getting back to and I have to think about what I want to do and how I want to approach it, because I have a lot of things I'm probably gonna working on. I had a bunch of courses. I had 2 courses that I already had done. My hard drive died. I've got to reconstitute those on how to buy a car and communication and media masterclass, all that type of stuff. But I'm and my wife's like, why are you looking at all this stuff, about relationships? We're married. I'm like, I know, I'm doing research. I'm like, come on, stop. But because I've been saying this for a long time now, there's a huge need out there, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do, whatever. But the kids these days, and I say kids because I'm older, right? But people, it's people. I've seen it. It's like they are lost, dude. They need a lot of help. I'm not saying I'm the expert, but I've been through a lot. I'm pretty smart. I'm a super genius. And thankfully, I've got a successful marriage and everything like that. It's like, it's not just about relationships. That is a critical part of the social structure. That's a critical part of your economic viability today. Because now you've got, everybody's working. You used to have one parent would work. Now both parents have to work. And so now the more people, it's supply and demand. The more people that are in the workforce, the lower they push wages. I've had people that told me, running companies, we need a good recession to get these wages down and stuff like that. Or something like, what, dude? I get it, but it's like people are super struggling, dude. Could you imagine? And again, if you're making the same money or even you got a little bit of raise, you were behind compared to inflation. We all know, look at this. I'm drinking orange juice. Orange juice costs, eggs, everything like that. So now we're gonna wind it up, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about next hour too. So thinking about this, we have this, and I don't want to pile on, but we have this actress for Snow White that came out saying about, oh, this is not a love story with the prince, and she doesn't need a prince to save her. I might get the quotes wrong. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting. I'm paraphrasing, and we'll get to that story next hour. About how and the prince was stalking her, weird, and kind of bashing the 1937. Dude, I got a 6-year-old daughter. She's always talking about tummy hurts and prince and princesses and Disney. She loves all that stuff. She's a kid. I don't take any of it seriously. She could think she's a unicorn or mermaid or whatever. But Dude, now we're bashing like love stories and prince and princesses and the traditional Disney stuff that built that whole company that Walt Disney built at an empire on, and things that would lead to families. What are we doing? Of course there's a backlash. Like, dude, you can't just diss your main consumers. It's like if I ran Starbucks and told everyone, you coffee drinkers are ridiculous. What are you doing that for? That wouldn't be too smart, would it? We're going to talk about all this and more next hour. Stay tuned. Lock in because there's so much more to do right here on the John D. Villarreal Show on Newstalk 1040 AM. See you in about 6 minutes. All right, stay tuned, everybody. About 5:06, we'll be back on. I'm just getting rolling here. We're going to keep talking about the Disney stuff. We'll talk more about election, and we'll weave in some business stuff, too. And we got some great guests coming up in future shows. I'm working on more business stuff. We're going to have doctors on. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. We hope so. I'm not going to make any promises, but we're trying to. And we've been doing communication, so we're going to weave in, venture capital. We're going to weave in some business stuff. We're going to weave in, all kinds of good stuff. So it's good. But it all relates here, and I'm looking forward to your comments as well. And do best I can with the show, okay? Talk to you in a bit.
to you what?
Getting ready.
Seven. WHBO.
Almost ready.
Families.
Then we'll have a better chance.
Okay, about 30 seconds, I guess. Okay, what's going on? Here we are, John D. Villarreal Show, right here on Newstalk 1040 AM, WHBO. It's unbelievable. A lot's going on. It is Monday, August 21st, 5:06 p.m. If you're driving in the car, if you're out there, if you're at work, if you're going home, if you're at home, we're talking about everything right here in the greater Tampa Bay area, and we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook right now. It is unbelievable. President Trump has says no debate. Maybe it's debates, and maybe he sits down with ex-Fox News personality Tucker Carlson, who's going crushing it on Twitter, now X, and in fact, we've got news about that, about what's going on over there in Twitter land, and we also need to talk about this whole situation. We've been talking, and to finish the thought from last hour, I don't know if I'm going to get into it. I don't know. Part of what I want to do is, and I got to be very quick. I don't want to make it about me. But, being talented, being experienced, having done a lot of different things, being sort of a polymath, a super genius, all that type of stuff, I've felt like I need to do what I can to improve the world, help people, educate, all that type of stuff. Of course, I want to be successful, make money, and help my family and do all that. So there's obviously self-interest in there too, right? But definitely, like, I've been all about giving and helping and everything like that. So, and I think there's a huge, massive need on the relationship side. I think people are totally confused, totally led astray by like social media and mainstream media and all this type of stuff. And it relates because, look, if you're not successful in your relationship, and there's a big problem, right? There's huge issues. There's huge issues that happens in your life. It's not good. It's no bueno, right? And as we talked about last hour, like there's a massive difference between retirement savings and wealth between people that stay married and people that don't get married or don't stay married. It's a big deal. So there's a financial aspect to this as well. Now, along those lines, Disney with this Snow White, it's another one. I mean, it just keeps on going and going and going for Disney. Like, I don't understand what's going on with Disney and what they're doing with this. And some people commented, I can't remember exactly who it was saying like, look, I mean, even Bob Iger, I don't know. I can't remember what I was watching a show and who's now back at Disney and everything like that. But let me just cut to it right here. And this is from Daily Mail. Okay, so UK newspaper headline, quote, exclusive, branding experts warn Rachel Zegler backlash could, all caps, ruin Disney's big budget Snow White remake and predict executives will be having, quote unquote, crisis talks in order to win back fans ahead of 2024 release, unquote. And subheadline, quote, Rachel 22 caused uproar online after admitting she, quote unquote, hated the original movie, unquote. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are you kidding me? And as I said, she said that quote, the storyline was, quote unquote, weird, and talked about the prince as a, quote unquote, stalker. I mean, dude, what are we talking about, dude? This is insane. Like this is insane. Like, does everything have to be super duper woke now? Like, I don't get it. And as some people say on the right, go woke, go broke. I mean, it's just like, look, I think we have to get to a better place in this country. And unfortunately, like a lot of these colleges and stuff are just poisoning the kids out there, you know, with just trash. Now, there's some great colleges, and I'm all about education. I've got a bunch of degrees, and I'm all for it, right? But you have to go in as a consumer of education and as a parent, eyes wide open, dude. Eyes wide open, because these are expensive. I mean, I love the way, like, it's hard to get a house loan if you're just starting out your first house, whatever like that, in my opinion, potentially. But hey, you can sign up for a couple $100,000 in student debt, maybe. You know, I mean, to do what? I mean, underwater basket weaving. That's a joke. I'm being facetious. That's not real. But the point is this. You know, we have to get to a better place where it's like, okay, look, there's serious issues. There's been historical issues. There are still issues. There's a lot of things we need to work on. We need to continue. I mean, nobody's perfect. And I'm not dismissing that. I'm acknowledging to say, like, look, there are still serious issues. Absolutely. There are things we need to work on. But are you going to be in the Tim Scott camp, Senator Scott, or are you going to be in the President Obama camp? And that's a discussion. As Senator Scott says, you can't be victorious and be a victim at the same time. And you had this ridiculous headline on Real Clear Politics, and basically, I'm not even gonna read it because it's just like, forget it. Like slamming the GOP for, you know, all the negatives, all the stuff that they typically try to slam the Republicans on, and yet you've got Governor Haley running for president, Mayor Suarez running for president. We'll talk about Mayor Suarez later. Vivek Ramaswamy running for president, Senator Scott running for president. What are we talking about here, dude? We've got Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, Congressperson Donalds, and on and on and on and on. We're sick of this stuff, dude. Like, people want real solutions. I'm tired of this. I'm good, you're bad. You're good, I'm bad. Here's the bottom line. If you want to be successful as an economy and stuff like that, this is the law and economics coming out of me. Like, you need to have more people working and more productivity and less regulation in general. There's good regulation. I don't want to have a whole economic discussion and policy discussion. That would make it, you know, super boring and it takes too long. And we can do that at some point. Probably I'll do that, you know, on a live stream sometime, not on the radio, on Newstalk 1040 AM. But anyway, the bottom line is you can't have all this silliness. You've got people that are more concerned about who wins than just winning. That's the problem. It's hard to win when you're focused on who wins. Okay? Now, part of that discussion, going back to what I just said, is if we have a situation or a system where people don't have a chance, can't participate, or frozen out of elite jobs or whatever it is, then that's not good either. Because now you're not getting the best talent. Now you're not energizing people and whatever. And part of what I did with my own company, America's Venture Capital, whatever, is try to take, and part of what I did being a member of the Full Circle Fund, right, is to take venture capital's entrepreneurship principles and help charities or disadvantaged, you know, areas or people, whatever it is, or take Silicon Valley principles and bring it around to different areas of the country, stuff like that and whatnot. And the problem is, a side note, is that tech, venture capital, law, I mean, these big industries, media, things I've been involved in, it's almost impossible. It's very, very hard to operate and be successful if you're a conservative. Particularly if you're someone like me on media, on air. You know, I know a lot of closet conservatives. I know a lot of closet conservatives and closet Republican lawyers and doctors and venture capitalists, but all the it's on the QT, it's on the DL, buddy. And that's just wrong. This is bizarro land. And people want, but it's not just bizarro land. It's bizarro land where people are getting crushed now, and it's hitting everybody. So this isn't like, well, he's, you know, these crazy people in California, or these crazy people in Hollywood, or New York, whatever it is. Now it's at a theater near you. Not unlike what New York City, Chicago, other places, these blue cities are starting to experience with the immigration crisis that border states, state I'm from originally, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, have experienced for quite some time. So it's different when it comes to your neighborhood. So Paul, that's why you've got a situation here with Trump and Vivek and this election. We're seeing the polls that we're seeing because people want real solutions now. They're tired of what's going on right now. Do you agree with that?
I do agree. And coming back to what you just said about the not in my backyard thing, that's taking place this year. I think you mentioned in New York City right now. There's been protests. I believe it's about Senior Citizen Center is hosting a number of undocumented migrants. And I think people are basically protesting that older people are not able to be in there right now because they're being displaced by these migrants. And so, as you said, it's great to be a sanctuary city. It's great to see all these platitudes until you have to deal with it. And there's no question about that. That definitely happens. We've seen that other times. I do think what you said, and coming back to the Snow White stuff, there, as you mentioned, we're all for fairness. We're all for equality. That's not the same thing as picking winners. It's not the same thing as competing to be the biggest victim. And Snow White is looking like it's on a similar trajectory to the recent release, Little Mermaid, the live-action Little Mermaid, which didn't do that well. It wasn't a complete bust, but it didn't do as well as it could have done, and it didn't do as well as they thought it would do. Now, the actress that starred in that movie, there was some, it's just the right person and everything. Apparently, she was a really good singer, and they wanted her for that purpose. I've heard people say the movie wasn't that good. It just wasn't done that well.
I don't,
and there were some tweaks.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, I don't think, and I'm just speaking for myself. I don't think anybody, let me put it this way. How do I say this? I'm going to be very careful how I say this. Like, I'm all for diversity. Like, I think it's cool that, like, I mean, I can't say, like, if you look back at some of these things, it's like, yeah, it's great to have diverse casts and stuff like that, and be able to see reality on the screen. Like, that's legit. That's cool. Like I'm all for that. It's different when you have to do, like, you just go through. It's almost like if, how do I say this? If whatever, percentage of the population, let's say you have a 0.1% or a 1% or 2% or 5% or whatever it is, percentage of the population. Why do you have to have all of those in every single show? And in every single show, it would be, it's almost like, do we have to have, I mean, how crazy do we want to get? Do we have to have, every nationality in Europe represented? I mean, like every nationality over the world in Latin America. I mean, like to what extent? And I want to be very, very careful how I say this. We're for peace, love, freedom, opportunity, equality for everybody, right? Maybe this is the way to say it. It's one thing to say we're all for diversity, and we are all for diversity, 100%, and we're all for reality, and we're all for treating everybody equal, and we're all for giving people opportunity, and it is very beneficial to. And I've said this about President Obama. Like, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I'm gonna be careful how I say this. I don't like. Like if I was talking to Professor Yu, or you listen to Clarence Thomas or Senator Scott or something like that. Like I don't like. I've always seen myself as an American. Does that make sense, right? And we're half Hispanic and half Anglo, whatever. A mix on my white. On my mom's side. I just saw my wife come in here. That's kind of slipped on the tongue there. She shut the door. But anyway, and but I've always seen myself as an American. I kind of align myself with what Tyra said on one of the Greg Gutfeld shows. And in fact, someone else said this too. I think it's a big community. Like depending on which community you're in or where you're at, like people will say different things, and you're seeing different ways, and it's and in some ways, I guess that what I was getting from that is like kind of where do you fit in? Well, guess what? We all fit in. This is America. It's a land of opportunity. It's a land of immigrants, land of the home of the free, land of the brave. And I do, even though, Dr. Martin Luther King, I'm not speaking for anyone, but just my impression, myself, Professor Yu, some other people want to see a quote unquote colorblind society. I do think there was some, I can understand the significance and importance of being able to have, President Obama was a real symbol for a lot of people and a symbol for what America is and can become. And I understand that and I respect that. And I think that's important. And I think that's important for people on the right to understand as well, to at least understand the psychology on it. But when you're in a situation where it's one thing to have diversity and opportunity and reality and all these things on the screen, it's another thing to feel like you're being slammed with the woke agenda that's nonstop and that's everywhere. Unrelenting. I'm tired of seeing, I don't want to, you know what? I'm not even going to go down that road. And let me put it this way. When people feel like there's a hard agenda that's almost inescapable, since we're talking about Disney now, with their children, no, player, you just crossed the line that most parents are not going to sign up for. And this is, listen, we're going to be talking about business and all kinds of different things, and I want to be non-political. We're on Newstalk, 1040 AM, so we want to talk about Newstalk stuff. But I think that we have to have real conversations, and that's the success of President Trump, and that's the success of Vivek Ramaswamy, and that's the success of Bill Maher, Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle, Russell Brand. That's why people are gravitating to it, because we're at a point where we have to have real conversations without being feared of being canceled, being labeled something or anything like that. I'm not out. These are not like I come on the show every day. A lot of times I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Here's the thing. I'm not like, this is my thing and I'm going to talk this and here's how I'm going to get a bunch of viewers, or I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to be a shock jock. No, that's not me at all. In fact, I just saw. I want to be careful how I say this too. There's some stuff out there we've seen over the years. There's some channels that have gotten in trouble, maybe, or demonetized, different things like that. And I've talked to Paul. Yeah, matter of time, dude, because we won't do these. We're not about that. We're for peace, love, freedom, equality, opportunity for everybody. But part of that is, this group's not better than that. Like, we're all the same, dude. We're all humans. Like, get off. Like we have to get to, and that's what maybe the affirmative action decision in the Supreme Court and everything like that. Like, at some point, we got to get beyond. Because if you don't get beyond, then you're still in this. It's just a different version of unfairness, if you will. So how do we give everybody a legit, and really the real dividing line today in 2023 in many respects is between the people that have super money and connections and the people that don't. Because if you look at Oliver Anthony and people that he knows in there in Appalachia, or people dying on the streets of Philadelphia from fentanyl and opioids and stuff like that, how much privilege do those people have? I don't think they got a lot, dude. And in fact, America, compared to the world, has insane levels of privilege. Patrick Bet-David speaks about that. I mean, if you can't make it here, what are you doing? So you can either focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. People used to say this to me all the time. Like, I have a weird life. Like, I've been, from where I came from, ultra successful. And at the same time, Like, I probably self-sabotage myself. Like, if I was a sellout, I'm convinced I would be rich right now. I would be retired right now. I would be on an island. I wouldn't be talking to you here on Newstalk 1040 AM, WHBO. But I'm not a sellout. And part of it is I have to come to grips with I'm insanely talented in certain things. And I also have some serious weak points. Now, I've worked hard on trying to get those weak points better. But you have to be honest with yourself and what it is. And I can, so, but a lot of people are like, oh, John, you can't do this, you can't do this. Yeah, but I can do all these things. So in other words, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? Now, I work on my weak points. But if I spend all my time thinking about, oh, I'm miserable because I didn't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. No, dude, you run to what you can do. You make it work. We need to make this country work. I believe in you. That's why I'm here on Newstalk 1040 AM. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to, help everybody out there. Help myself, help this country. I love this country. This country's done so much for me. It's unbelievable. It's done so much for my family. We can't just give up on it. Can't give up on yourself. No matter what's happening in your life, you can do something about it. You've got to take it under control. You've got to make it happen. And then this woman, and listen, I've got compassion for her. She's 22 years old. But my goodness, lady, you have the role of a lifetime. You have the opportunity of a lifetime. You're going to be in a huge, massive, big budget Hollywood movie. You've already been in West Side Story. I mean, it's like when it's quote, she's not going to be saved by the prince and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. Are you out of your mind? My daughter, 6 years old, she's thinking about that all the time as a kid. So now it's a bad thing to be in love and be married and all. What are we talking about? This election, right now, 2023, 2024, it's not just about politics, about your life, where this country's going, where the world's going, where everything's going on. It's about getting back to reality, taking control, winning the right way, and making sure that everybody has an opportunity to win, that we treat everybody right. It's not about blaming or hyper-partisanship or, wedge issues or stuff like that. People are saying enough of it. That's why Trump's doing well. That's why Vivek's doing well. That's why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in the race. We don't want the rich men north of Richmond. Nobody against anything. But it's like, we want real opportunity, real society. Why do you think everyone's rushing the border to get in America? That's what America's about. So let's get back to that. Paul, quick comments before the break.
Yeah, look, just to summarize this, I think for the Snow White thing, you said it well. I think the bottom line is representation and a sense of progression or progressiveness is not the same thing as trashing everything that came before it or having to have that as the bad guy or the bad thing. Being in love or having a love story, that's not bad. You might not want it, but maybe somebody else wants it. So I think that's just the summary there. You do not have to trash the past to make a new story now.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all kinds of different stories out there, and that's fine. And we've got all kinds of different platforms to tell all kinds of different stories, and it's all okay. Like, we have to look. Everybody. Here's the bottom line: everybody has to live together, and everybody has to work together. And we have to get the best out of everybody and provide the best society and the best equal level playing field that we can, and try to lift everybody up. Enough of this blaming and hyper-partisanship and cancel culture. Just people are done. We're going to talk about all that and more. Last segment coming up on the John D. Villarreal Show here on Newstalk 1040 AM, WHBO.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. In Tampa Bay, there is one radio station to get the no-spin news from me. Please listen weeknights 7 to 8 on Newstalk 1040, and I will deliver the most honest and smart news analysis in the country. It is all fact-based. Now, I've been part of the lineup on this station for many years, and it's great to be here now, and I hope you will check out the No Spin News weeknights 7 to 8 right here on Newstalk 1040 Tampa Bay.
USA.
Okay, we're probably like a minute or two out.
28.
Single.
All right, last segment here. We're going to try to talk about why Twitter, maybe some business stuff. There's just so much to talk about. And then, like I said, in upcoming shows, we're going to talk about, it's hot in here, it's, business and all kinds of different things, and take your comments as well. Okay, last segment here on the John D. Villarreal Show. Right here on Monday. Hope you're having fun. Hope you had a good work day. Maybe you're driving home. Maybe you're still at home. Maybe you're at home. Whatever it is. Whatever whatever it is, do it work. Right here on News Talk 1040 AM, WHBO, Greater Tampa Bay Area, live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, we were talking, we got a little passionate, we got into it, we talked about it, we chopped it up. The point is this. It's the golden rule, right? Treat others the way that you want to be treated. You can't say like, oh, you know, we don't like men or princes, but hey, I'm a princess. Or, hey, you know, Democrats are good, Republicans are bad, or whatever, dude. I mean, like, or and then on and on and on. Like, we're all in this together. You got to make it work. You know, you got to make it work, dude. I mean, it's like we have to get to, and we have work to do. It's not perfect. You know, the history of the country hasn't been perfect. There's a lot of things to work on. History of the world hasn't been perfect. A lot of things to work on. But of all the countries out there, if you don't believe that America's the best, can you at least say that we're one of the best over the last 250 years? I mean, come on, right? So, and if we're not, then who is, right? And so, you know, it's a work in progress. America's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. You're a work in progress. Nobody's perfect. Let's see what we've done wrong, see what we've done right, and keep working on it and keep improving it. And to that extent, that's one of the things that we talk about here on the show and how we get together and move forward is, you know, I want this to be a show that elevates and enlightens people and entertains people, of course, you know, talking about the different subjects and different issues. But yeah, I mean, speaking of talent, one of the people that I think is really, I don't know if you've seen this lady or not, Paul. She does suffer, I think, PragerU. I want to say, I hope I'm probably going to mispronounce the name, and I really apologize. Amala Ekpanubi, something like that. And she does little shorts and different things, and she'll comment on like all kinds of different things, relationship, whatever. I think she's really smart, talented, you know, a lot of personality. She's doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of great creators out there. There's a lot of people that are out there that are saying stuff. And it's very interesting. And I think that like it's good to have a discussion. It's good to have a discussion and move it forward. So I think that we have to move beyond the whole like I'm just so sick of like, you know, basically Democrats are all super moral, the wokesters, and they're morally superior, and Republicans are just bad, evil people. Like I'm over it, dude. I've been fighting this and, you know, in terms of like politically my entire life. And if you look at which party is more diverse right now, it's looking a little interesting, you know, and I think that when you talk about policies that are pro-family, pro-responsibility, you know, pro-growth, pro-independence, and that's, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, and we'll get into these other topics. The political spectrum, and I'm a political expert, right? And you'll see a lot of stuff getting confused over there, but it's very, very simple. It's very simple. On the far right, absolute right, it's like a linear continuum. It's like a line. Think of a line out there for News Talk 1040, right? On the far right, you have no government, total anarchy, Wild West, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? No government. Now that's not good because guess what? If I have a contract with you, there's no court to enforce it. There's no law enforcement. There's no anything. So you can, you know, if I give you money to do something, you don't do it. What am I going to do? Or if I leave my house and someone can rob it, or it's, you know what I mean? So you can't have a society when there's like no government, no laws. I mean, it's very tough, right? You might get like Lord of the Flies, weird stuff, right? On the far left, it's very different names, but it's totalitarian. It's statism. It's total control. We're going to tell you what to think, what to wear, what to drink. You know, we're gonna, you know, control where you work. We're going to control everything. It could be a dictatorship. It could be a monarchy with a king. It could be, you know, a communist state, whatever. Fill in the blank. But the more government power, you have absolute government power on the left and no government power on the right. Super simple. And so I'm someone that believes in freedom, liberty, equality. I don't care what you do as long as you don't hurt anybody else, right? And I think a lot of people feel that way. So I'm conservative, almost libertarian. I think that like you give people as much freedom, liberty, and room, responsibility, whatever you want to call it, as possible, and let them live their life. Whatever you want to do. You want to wear a polka dot shirt every day, or blue or green, whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't want to get married, don't get married. You want to get married, get married. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. On the far right, as far left, we're going to tell you everything. We're going to control everything that you do. We're going to track you. We're going to monitor your phone calls, your emails, everything. In some places, they told you how many children you can have. Think about that. I mean, how has that worked? Socialism and communism have failed everywhere. So why are we trying to do that again? And the problem is, again, getting into Max Weber and stuff like that and political theories is there's an inertia. Once you build up these bureaucracies, and as Paul was alluding to too, and I got to bring him back in here. We got to talk about a lot of things before we end here. They have their own momentum, and politics is a business model for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that get very rich off these things. A lot of people get very rich off of lobbying and consulting and contracts, government contracts, and all kinds of different stuff, right? And as Russell Brand said, not to be, but if you have a defense company, how do you make money? If you have a pharmaceutical company, how do you make money? So, it's, you want a system to have the most vibrant system. First of all, there's two different questions, and this takes a longer, I can't get into it all here, but I try to lay it out over different weeks. If you want the most freedom, you've got to limit government to some degree. You have to have that right mix of government, and it's tough because government's always going to want to have more government, right? People that run for office have good intentions, but a lot of them want to be in charge. Yeah, you understand that? So you have to be skeptical. And we used to have a press that would like speak truth to power. We don't have that anymore. Now we have a mainstream media press that's basically a propaganda arm in a lot of ways to the Democratic Party. So you have to give people the space to do their own thing if you want to maximize freedom, stuff like that. So you have to find that happy medium of where you need to be. That doesn't mean you need to be in the middle, but that means that balance where you maximize freedom, liberty, and opportunity, but you have enough government to make it all work, right? Where you can energize growth. As I've said before, I mean, first of all, discrimination, anything like that is morally reprehensible, but it's also economically stupid. It doesn't make any sense, right? Because why would I limit my choices for talent? It makes no sense, right? So you want to have, you want to maximize efficiency, maximize people that are working, maximize the productivity, maximize your technology, and you maximize the liberty, freedom, and stuff like that. And then you're going to have a happy population. You're going to have, if we mess it up here, what are people going to do? They're going to go to Dubai. They're going to go to Singapore. They're going to go to Belize. They're going to go somewhere else. This is not the only game in town. And that's a mistake that people that want to control people fall into. Fox News, we'll kick off Tucker and we'll kick off these other people. And I'm not alleging anything. I'm just speaking, whatever, hypothetically. And Republicans have nowhere to go. Oh, we'll force them. We'll have McCain will get the nomination. Republicans will have nowhere to go. Oh, we'll say whatever, in our marketing, and Bud Light drinkers will have nowhere to go. We'll put this in the movie. We'll just keep shoving it down people's throats, and Disney moviegoers will have nowhere to go. Well, guess what, player? We do have somewhere to go. It doesn't make sense. How about this? How about you make movies for all kinds of different people and let the market decide what it wants? Instead of trying to force people. That's really the key operative question. If your stuff's so great, why do you need to force people to listen to it, to watch it, to see it, to adhere to it, to vote for it? Why do you need to do that? I don't want a system where only an elite, the rich men north of Richmond, win. I want a system where the most amount of people win. Now, on the right, what we have to keep focused on is it's not just like, well, the market will decide and let everyone listen. There are people. If you're born in a wealthy family, you got some advantages, dude. We have to work hard to make sure the people in, Appalachia, the barrios, the inner city, wherever, everyone has an opportunity. Because when I grew up in Claysville, Pennsylvania, dude, I was light years away from the Harvards, the Berkeleys, the Stanfords. I had no idea. Thank goodness I was a super genius, because when I got to Berkeley Law School, I have natural talents, but I was behind because I didn't go to the prep school. Well, I went for 1 year, right? And my mom, struggled hard to do that for me. But anyway, it was like I was way behind. I didn't go to Exeter. I didn't go to Phillips Academy. I didn't go to any of that type of stuff. So, again, we are the people are the talent. So, I just think that, and again, I forget her name. It's the runner. The runner. She's so good. She's so good. And it's like, if you don't let her run for the USA, why would you not do that? She's amazing. Shakira, I can't remember her name. Or Noah Lyles or anyone else like that. Like, we have to focus up. We have to focus up and don't let them play you, because the people in power sometimes want to play you because it works for them, but it's not working for us. Paul, let's talk about Twitter. Let's talk about Hawaii. I just want to clarify that a little bit. Do you agree with those comments? And then step in here and let's get some of these other things on the table. And I apologize to the audience because honestly, one last thing. I want to get to a lot of other like business things but this is the and we will in future shows, but these are some of the main underlying things that we have to understand. And this is why Trump and Vivek are doing good. We have to stop this, right versus left, this group versus that group, whatever. They are playing us. This is the Matrix. This is what some of the people, talk about out there, in my opinion. And again, there's no conspiracies, no anything like that, but it's like, treat others the way that you want to be treated. Let's get everybody working. Let's believe in America. Let's lift ourselves up. Let's get this going again. And there are people that are speaking to it. Some of our congressional representatives here in Florida are phenomenal, and they're doing great. So I want to keep our eyes on the prize, because it can get very complicated, but it also breaks down very, very simple. So I just want to put that on the table, and I'm glad we spent the time on that, and I want to clarify that. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I think the runner you're talking about is Sha'Carri Richardson, who had a little bit of stuff, but she's a great runner.
She's a great runner.
In my opinion, they should definitely use her.
She's a great runner, and people don't like her. Some people don't like her attitude and this and that. And again, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Whatever. But when she's on that track, she's amazing, and I want her running for Team USA. Yeah. And I don't care what she says, this and that, whatever. It doesn't matter. She's a track star. Not everybody like Charles Barkley. They're not all role models. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted with that. Let's talk Twitter. Let's talk Hawaii. But Sha'Carri's great.
Yeah. Let me just two more things to wrap up. Look, I don't think anybody will say that capitalism isn't perfect, but I'll take it over the alternatives with any day of the week. There's no question about that.
Right.
Also, you mentioned about the political spectrum. I think we've lurched too much towards the total state model. And that's not where I don't think people are comfortable with that, and I don't think that's where people want to be. And as you said about Oliver Anthony, his thing is resonating with all groups because everybody can relate to it.
Exactly.
It's not about one group. It's about a whole bunch of people that don't have anything versus a few that do. And that's why it's resonating across various groups.
Right. That's right. That's right. We're talking. This is the thing. This is the thing. They try to get you distracted with this bread and circuses, this stuff over here. Oh, don't like this person. Did you see what they said? Oh, this tweet. Oh, the TikTok. Meanwhile, jobs are being offshored. Just billions and hundreds of billions of dollars are being spent on this war. And are we going to win? Who's going to win? I mean, what's going on with that? We just had a pandemic. We've had crisis with the kids in school, stuff like that. The kids are behind and all that. You couldn't even see grandma 3 years ago and stuff like that. You got a fentanyl crisis, an opioid crisis, a housing crisis, an inflation crisis. AI might take everybody's jobs. Dude, there's serious stuff to work on now and worry about. How about this? How about everyone is successful enough and has their own freedom, stuff like that, that they can do whatever they want to do, and we have safety in the streets, and nobody has to worry. If a person over there is voting the way I don't like or saying things I don't like, it doesn't matter, dude, because we're okay. You know, do we all want to be equally miserable? Do we just want to have if you say the right things and the 0.01%, they have money and everyone's going to be like, no, dude, stop. At some point, Atlas will shrug and people will say enough of this, like they're doing to the blue states, and they're moving out. New York and California have lost $1 trillion. Like even Governor Newsom, like, oh, we're going to run Gavin Newsom. You're going to run that success model? Dude, I mean, I will say this for Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis will crush him. Well, Governor Newsom is a much better politician, but Governor DeSantis has a far better record. You know, and I think people don't care. That's what I'm saying. Like the substance is winning out over the style. The tricks aren't working anymore. The ads aren't working anymore. I mean, I'm sure, you know, it's like, and here's how we know that. How much money has Governor DeSantis, the PAC or whoever, how much money has been spent on trying to get Governor DeSantis, you know, the nomination? And where's his polls going? Boom, they're crashing, dude. And I'm not trying to pick on him or that. He's great. I didn't even get to talk about Mayor Suarez. I'll say this real quick. This is what I'm talking about. And again, I don't want it to seem personal or something. I'm going to name a couple names here and stuff like that. And they're all public figures in my opinion. And this is my personal opinion. I'm not alleging facts. We had this tech hub thing, this tech movement stuff in Miami. And I said, and I've laid it out. I mean, the biggest problem of it is that you just did Me Too. It was like, everyone come over here. You weren't saying anything about I'm not saying that. I didn't see front and center a lot. Maybe I missed it, about the shadow banning, protecting conservatives. So, right, you know, having this be a conservative friendly tech hub in Miami. It was like crypto. Oh, this person's coming down. This person funding. Oh, my podcast, Cafecito Talk, all this type of stuff. But there's no discussion about, you know, people being demonetized, about how it's so hard to get a job in venture capital or tech or media if you're a Republican. And one of the things I've talked about, you know, Laura DeBella, former Florida Secretary of Commerce, is doing something over here, and it sounds like she's hopefully supportive of that. We're going to do something. I've already announced it, so if anyone tries to steal the idea, I've already, you know, we're going to try to do something here to be a nonpartisan, or at least, you know, conservative friendly something. I don't know, tech venture hub here in Sarasota, and I think it's a perfect place for a lot of reasons. But anyway, the point is this. He had the perfect opportunity to do something right here in Miami. It was red state. It was open for business. Thanks to who? President Trump, Governor DeSantis, particularly Governor DeSantis, right? So all props, all you know, for that, Governor DeSantis. And instead of doing that, it was just like, oh, whatever, you know, just come on over. And it felt very much like me. It felt like that, in my opinion. And that really cliquey, really tight, the same 15, 20 people, you know, Refresh Miami, Emerge Americas, and I'm not dissing anybody. And some of the people have been doing it for a long time, been doing great stuff out there. You know, South Florida Tech, I mean, all, you know, the same group, all giving each other, you know, South Florida business, all giving each other their awards, all showing up to the same thing and whatever like that. But there was no discussion about making this open for business to conservatives, Republicans, the way Florida was. And meanwhile, Florida's getting redder and redder and redder. And there was burbling, like murmuring, like rumors, like, oh, political aspirations, running for bigger offices. I knew it was good. I could predict. I didn't know. I was in contact with some of the people like Save This Off and some other. I don't want to name too many names because I don't want to make it like personal. But they were kind of like, you know, nice to me, but who knows what was said behind my back? I don't care. But it was kind of like pound sand, John. Even though I was right there and had all the experience in Silicon Valley, and I can name all the names, Mike Vortz, you know, John Doerr, Sam Colella, on and on and on and on, that I've met, talked to, whatever like that, pitched on Sand Hill Road, done all the whole thing. We don't need you, John. We got figured out. Oh, really? How's it looking now? Now, they've done some great things, don't get me wrong. But meanwhile, what did they say? Mayor Suarez surrounded himself with people that seem pretty left-wing to me. So how are you, what did I say? How are you going to run for bigger office against President Trump, against Governor DeSantis, both of whom you've had heat with, bro? And when he came out and running for president, was talking smack on Governor DeSantis, in my opinion. Okay. And meanwhile, Saif Ishoff, not that long ago, if I remember, I gotta be careful what I say. Let me say it another way. A lot of these people were like, I've seen pictures posted with President Obama. Nothing against President Obama, but I mean, a lot of diversity. Left, it was left. Woke. And that's who you've surrounded yourself. That's who that's what Venture Miami seemed to me. Now, I'm not dissing that if that's your cause, but that's a missed opportunity, a huge missed opportunity. Again, you're writing off 50%. You could have been Fox News, bro, when it launched. Instead, you were CNN Plus. Do you understand? You were PBS 2. You were ABC. Like you missed it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just another tech hub like every other tech hub. Fine. It's another place where conservatives can't get in there. It's another place where it's just the inside crew, and we don't want to hear from the outside. It's not who. So someone said, and I'm taking from them. I'm borrowing from them. I think it was my buddy Umar Khan or someone. I can't remember. Or no, it was probably something I read. I can't remember the citation. It's not how can I help. It's what do you bring. I've been to those tech hubs before. I don't want to name names, but Paul's been with me. I've been to those tech hubs before. I know what it is. It's very one way. It's very transactional. But then surprise. So all that's whatever. Huge missed opportunity. But when your team, when people close in there are talking about all their woke causes and the TEDx talks, and you do a TEDx talk, not exactly a conservative bastion, right? And they're posting pictures of President Obama and stuff like that. And then somehow you think that's going to translate into a Republican nomination? What? And I'm going to introduce myself to the American people. Well, we've already been introduced to you, bro. How many trips, paid trips did CNBC and all these business people come down there in January in Miami? They were loving that and breathless coverage of you and everything like that. And guess what? Today, Real Clear Politics. Where's Mayor Suarez and the Republican? I said, whatever, great. They've done some great things, great. I give credit where credit's due, great. Missed opportunity, exactly as I said. But I said, this is no way, no chance does he have a chance in the Republican nomination. It's not going to translate into politics at all from the Republican side. And guess what? Sitting at 0.1%. Real Clear Politics, I don't think he's even covering him anymore in the polls. I mean, abysmal. I mean, anything can happen, but I'm sitting here right now, like, they have in the polling data, they have got Trump, DeSantis. This is RCP average. Trump 55.8, DeSantis 14.9, Ramaswamy 7%, Pence at 4.4, Haley 3.3, Christie 3.1, Scott 3.0, Hutchinson 0.9, Burgum 0.6, Johnson 0.5, Elder 0.5, Hurd 0.4. Suarez not even there. It's not even there, bro. Like, you want to talk missed opportunity? And I've had so many people, VCs, I mean, I can't tell you, man, I want to meet Suarez. I mean, big people like, dude, I'm not dissing the dude, but clueless politically, both sides. This is what I'm talking about. People are over it. You can't fool the people anymore. People understand it. People, the residents of Miami, they can't afford it anymore. People are moving out, bro. If you want to cater Richmond, north of Richmond, it all comes full circle. If you want to cater to the 0.01%, the big billionaires and stuff like that, go for it. If you think that has saliency on the Republican side, you're delusional, in my opinion. I'm here for you. And that's why you listen to me here on John D. Villarreal Show on the great Newstalk 1040 WHBO. Appreciate you, Paul. Great job as usual. Can't wait till next week. Stay tough out there. Work hard. We're in this together. We're going to do it together. Love you guys. Have a great week. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.